Well, in the last video, we already said that this was pretty much done. Well, even more so now, because even if he wasn't the one who first reported on Diomandé, others did. When there's a here we go, it's because it's already done. In fact, hours earlier, Arantxa Rodriguez had posted on X the information that, assuming the signing was done, although she phrased it conditionally, he would join this week. Well, it was crystal clear, wasn't it? And well, tonight it's already more than confirmed, and that's it. By the way, they're talking about an amount over 100 million. It's probably going to be close to what has been speculated. I heard Miguel Serrano say it. 105 plus 15 in add-ons, reaching 120. We don't know if at some point it might go up and get closer to 130, but well, above 100 million as the fixed amount. We'll see exactly how much it is. And then all those add-ons, I imagine, will be just that, right? Number of goals in a season, if at some point he wins the Ballon d'Or, and so on and so on and so on. Although there's something here that I haven't mentioned in previous videos. I think it's an amazing signing. I'm really excited. I'm super excited about it. Now let's look at the starting 11, by the way, 28 registered players. Now it's time to start letting a lot of players go. But there's one thing that, just to find a flaw, and don't start leaving the usual comments saying I always find flaws, okay? Come on, we have a YouTube channel to talk about everything. Some of you have already mentioned this to me. It actually came from you. I hadn't noticed, but it's something obvious. And it's that a year and a half ago, you had this guy in Madrid, and then another person notices him. And on top of that, he makes his first division debut at the Bernabeu, man. He plays briefly, makes an incredible move that could have drawn a penalty. I can't recall if there actually was one. They insisted the penalty was obvious, and he already left a good impression that day at the Bernabeu. No, it's just that Leganés didn't play against Valencia that weekend, and then he didn't play against Madrid either, right? His first minutes in the first division were against Madrid at the Bernabeu, and hey, there he was, miles away. And it turns out he cost 20 million, which is what Leipzig paid, and now you're signing him for 100 more. Of course, if you want to find a flaw in this, that's the most important one. Definitely. Because then there are the knock-on questions about the position he's coming to play. The answer is no. He's coming in on the right, although he can also play on the left. The only thing linking this to that speculation is that it could be seen as one last hint or message. So that Vini understands Madrid wants to sell him, which I don't believe, because as far as I know, Madrid wants to extend Vinicius's contract. Well, it's that they're both represented by the same agency. And well, maybe there's a connection there, which is why now one thing leads to another. But anyway, I think they are absolutely compatible, and you can play with these three up front. Here, the ones who are going to be worst off, they are Gonzalo and Hendrik, who say, let's see, you've put one more guy ahead of us if we want to play, another guy in front of us, especially Hendrik, who is going to play in the position that they say Mourinho more or less promised to the Brazilian. Man, I would totally understand if the agents came to talk to the club and said, hey, are we looking for a way out, or what's going on here? Right? Or that the coach reassures the player. Well, anyway, the point is, he comes, it's celebrated. Of course, it's celebrated. 19 years old with that kind of development. Well, of course, in just 1 year, but with a brilliant future ahead, at least for now. Let's hope he's not just another so much potential, but nothing comes of it case, because this kid seems truly hungry for soccer. There's a very beautiful, very tragic personal story, and we found out about it. And we found out about it during the World Cup, which was the loss of his sister. And also, I think it was after he debuted at the Bernabeu. It was relatively recently. He was playing for Leganés. Suddenly, he gets a call from his home in Ivory Coast, and they tell him that his sister has died. And the other day, the contents of a letter became known in which, well, after debuting in the World Cup with Ivory Coast, in that first match, which I think they played against Ecuador and won in the last minutes, 1-0, the letter was devastating and very inspiring, and it told us a bit about the person. Of course, reading it makes you want to cry, right? Because of how he talked about his sister, how he spoke to her, telling her that he had achieved his goal of playing in a World Cup, of being close to Cristiano. In the end, he didn't get to face Cristiano, not in the World Cup, but well, he played in the same competition as him because he remembered that when they were kids, they would write Cristiano's name and the number 7 on themselves with a pen. It was a thoughtful detail that reveals a lot about the person. I hope so. I really do, because this is very important and Madrid values it a lot, especially after what we've been through. I hope he joins the locker room to contribute, and that he's a humble kid, and well, that he doesn't become another source of discord there. I don't think so. Well, nothing. Great. It's done. And of course, it turns out that Paris Saint-Germain has published a statement when they saw that everything was already lost, which is further proof that this is done, in which they say the following: the amount demanded for the transfer, as well as the salary expectations, were completely disproportionate and of such a nature that they would have destabilized the market. Paris Saint-Germain will not stray from its principles of strict financial management, and the whole squad imbalance line is unbelievable. It's incredible that this club, which came to shake up European football, that paid 222 million for Neymar, just like that, in cash, boom, paying the release clause, and that same summer they pulled off a huge move to sign Mbappé. If not, it was a loan with an obligation to buy the following year for 180 million, bringing together Messi, Neymar, and Mbappé on the same team.
Una obligación de compra al año siguiente por 180 millones, que juntó en su equipo a Messi, a Neymar, a Mbappé,
which was an absolute Tower of Babel. Now talk about this. Besides, it actually still is. That more collective, more tactical, more well-drilled side comes from their coach, Luis Enrique. And it's true that they've made signings that are a bit more second tier, but expensive signings in any case. Hey, in January, 2 Januaries ago, they paid a lot of money for Kvaratskhelia, and they could afford it. And everything they sign, it may not seem like it, but it costs a lot. Now, these guys are saying this because they've lost the battle. Because why have they lost the battle? Because when the player talked to Real Madrid convinced him more, period, that's it. And that's why they're using this as an excuse. Not because certain amounts were demanded, they're also going to pay more than 100 easily. What happens is that Madrid, which is a team that many footballers choose because it's about glory, it's not a trend, it's glory, the footballer chose that, and Leipzig says, I don't care, just give me over 100, and Madrid gave it to them. That's it. Paris Saint-Germain was also going to give it to them, but the footballer didn't want to go to Paris. It's as simple as that. Hey, yesterday we saw, this inevitably reminds me, and we didn't see it all yesterday, but please, let's enjoy the famous tweet from El Chiringuito from last May 1st when Jose Jabali Walker said this.
Well, they keep telling me at FC Barcelona that they're going to make several signings to strengthen the squad, and they really emphasize the left wing aside from the striker, which we already know Barca wants Julian, okay? They mention a specific type of player, an explosive dribbler. They gave me a name. It's a tricky one, but it's Diomandé. Diomandé, man.
Yes, that's Diomande, the Red Bull Leipzig player who last year was actually at Leganés. They paid 20 million euros for him for his signing.
He got them all right. He started with Diomandé.
A promising player to play on the left wing, even though he's right-footed, dribbling, pace, and one-on-one ability, and his adaptation to the Bundesliga has been magnificent.
Bernardo Silva is another name we've discussed, and he does have many offers. Barca still hasn't decided whether to go for him or not, but for now, Bernardo is waiting for FC Barcelona. He wants to see what decision they make because he's gaining more and more fans. Flick is confident due to his experience and versatility, but no decision has been made yet. As mentioned, departures are possible, especially at right back, like Koundé. Well, there has to be Koundé, both fullbacks. Koundé, if he leaves, there's a right back they really like, and that's Dan Fries from Milan, and he has a 25 million clause expiring this summer. So if a major offer came for Koundé, he would leave, and Barca would target Dan Fries. Dan Fries is good. And the other name, as Jota Jordi already said, if Balde leaves, who also has offers, we mentioned it here, very important ones from the Premier League, Barca would consider Cucurella, who is dying to come. He told us himself when he was with the national team, but obviously
He told us when he was with the national team. The only thing Cucurella has said publicly was, would you sign for Barca? And well, let's see. Imagine they sign you and then they can't register you. And he says, come on, no, they'd register you in any case. And he said, no, you can't trust anyone in this life. That's the only thing Cucurella has said publicly about the idea of signing for Barca back in the day. And obviously he ended up choosing Real Madrid because Madrid, when they pay, they register, right? When they sign, they register.
And obviously, we're talking about the fact that Valde would have to leave, Koundé would have to leave. These are people that Barca has on their list in case there's any movement. So now they're waiting on Bernardo Silva.
Well, that's it.
Silva, Danfries, and Cucurella if the fullbacks go, plus a winger with the profile I mentioned, though that's optional.
It's just an amazing streak, man. Here I post a tweet where I say the famous phrase of whatever this guy says, do the opposite in its purest form, historic. But thinking about it in the end, of course, maybe he was right. That's what they told him, right? But, well, it turned out to be the opposite because Real Madrid signed him. But yeah, maybe he was right, actually. Barca was after these guys. But of course, to have a summer like this, Barca, let's see. It's not that Bernardo Silva and Danfries were expensive, but then with Cucurella. And he gave an amount of money that Barca obviously couldn't pay, right? Well, we've messed up Barca's summer transfer window since they've signed De Gemi and Gordon. Two guys who are quick and all that. Well, Flick wants them. Watch out for Flick because we don't underestimate him anymore. I never underestimated this guy. This guy, with all the asterisks that Barca has, with the kind of club it is, he has built a team that obeys him to the letter, that plays the way he wants, and it has worked out well for him. And, well, look, the good thing is that Madrid has stepped up. And with the team we're building this summer, which is this one, and it's scary. Another thing is to make them play well, but it looks really good. Well, not just good, it's amazing. The thing is, of course, Courtois gives them real security in goal. Okay, here now, 3 left backs. Obviously, Mendy has to stay because the guy is injured. Without Sineri, Cucurella, Carreras, Mendy, Rudigerhausen, the 2 center backs, the other 2, Militao with Ate. The odd man out here is Asensio, placed on the right, but they'll clearly seek a way out for him. Same with Mendy when possible. What happens is that you have to deal with Mendy for most of the season. Same with Rodrigo. And then here you have Trent and Danfries. We said it yesterday. For me, the starter is Danfries for me. But well, midfield, I would put Rodri Rodriguez here as a true holding midfielder. But honestly, he's placed here as an interior. I wouldn't put Bernardo and Camavinga in the same spot. I chose this graphic because it's illustrative, but I'd place the players differently, including the second and third choices. But anyway, Rodri, Bernardo, Camavinga, Bellingham, Güler, Mastantuono, Valverde, Tchouaméni, Pitarch. I'd keep Pitarch and want to keep Tchouaméni, but since they've signed Rodri Rodriguez for the same position, Tchouaméni might feel uncertain, as I don't see both playing together. I don't see them being able to play together, honestly, even if one can cover a bit more and do the dirty work while the other is more creative. It's tough for me to see them together, but maybe Mourinho will try and hopefully they'll work it out. Xabi Alonso and Busquets played well together for Spain, so maybe it's possible. I would put Bellingham closer to the goal. He's proven with England that he's very dangerous and had a great World Cup that way. I'm sad because Güler might not get as many minutes as he'd like. Bernardo, given his age, can easily start every game. He's still at a good age and is a great signing for Real Madrid. The thing is, of course, we've already got so many players there that I'm not so sure about it, because the 3 in the middle, honestly, could easily be Rodri, Bellingham, Valverde. And they're, look, substitutes like Bernardo, Güler. Anyway, if we're signing Diomandé up front on the right, Brahim, we don't talk much about Brahim, but Brahim is still at Real Madrid. And then Vinicius is still at Madrid. Let's not count on Rodrigo for now because he's injured. And then Mbappe, Hendrick, and Gonzalo Garcia. That's a lot of people. That's 28 spots. You can't have that many. Careful, 28, but one of them is still from the 2nd division, from Castilla, which is Mastantuono. So let's say 27. There are 2 extra, 2 or even 3 have to leave. And one of them precisely is going to be Mastantuono. So that move where Mastantuono is registered with Castilla and doesn't count and all that, well, that's not going to work this year, because I think what they want to do with him is a loan. Let me know in the comments what you think. Tomorrow we'll share more, as I want to discuss something about Negreira, and we'll resume work on that after all that's happened. Elections, World Cup, etc. We'll get back to the Negreira issue, and we're definitely going to keep pushing it. We're going to keep pressing that issue because we can't stop. We have to keep fighting. That's it. Hope you have a great start to the week. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and show some support. That really helps the video, and it has definitely worked really well on the last few, so I appreciate it. See you in the next one. Bye.